we know that more of 10% of men and women without an illness or without a disability are reporting having at least some challenges where sex is concerned. And although we know that study shares and indicate that people with MS report more problems with sexuality than people who don't have MS, we have to keep in mind that everyone is different. MS is different in every person, and we have to keep in mind that, MS can interfere directly and indirectly with sexual function.
This is Let's Talk MS, the podcast of youth living with MS.
Let's Talk MS! Welcome to Let's Talk MS, a podcast series created by young minds for young minds and proudly presented to you by the European Multiple Sclerosis Platform. I'm Simina Peterfi and I'll be your host for today. In this podcast series, we are about to unpack the intricacies of living life as a young adult while navigating challenges that come with multiple sclerosis, or MS for short. From dating to nutrition or dealing with the MS stigma, we're about to navigate it all through expert insights and personal stories. Today, we're kicking off with a steamy and much-needed discussion about how MS impacts your sexuality. Yes, you heard that right. We're about to dive into a very candid conversation. But before we dive straight into it, let me introduce you to our guests. First, we have Moira Tzitzik, the president of the Hellenic Federations of Persons with Multiple Sclerosis, a psychologist, a researcher on topics of sexuality, and a friend of EMSP. Would you like to say hello?
Hello to everybody. I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm glad that you're doing this this series of podcasts about sexuality, not only, as I heard. Thank you very much, Simina, for your call to participate in this.
Thank you. We're glad to have you here. Our next guest is Viivi Vesala. She's a young person living with MS from Finland. Would you like to say hi?
Hello, and thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm so excited about this.
Cool. We're happy to have you as well. And lastly, we have Nadja Stanojevic from Serbia.
Hi, everyone. Very happy to discuss this topic today, and thank you for inviting us all.
Thank you. To start it right off, I will turn to our expert guest, Moira. Can you give us an overview of how MS impacts our sexuality?
Yes, but before that, I will say that difficulty with sexuality is quite common not only in people having MS. In fact, we know that more of 10% of men and women without an illness or without a disability are reporting having at least some challenges where sex is concerned. And although we know that study shares and indicate that people with MS report more problems with sexuality than people who don't have MS, we have to keep in mind that everyone is different. MS is different in every person, and we have to keep in mind that, MS can interfere directly and indirectly with sexual function, and it can affect sexual feelings, sexuality itself, and it can interfere directly and indirectly with all of these things. I don't know if you want me to say about the levels that sexuality can be disturbed and others because of MS. We have the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary level of sexual dysfunction in MS, and we have a lot of data concerning all these levels. I must insist of talking about the primary sexual effects, which is the direct effects from the central nervous system, and the indirectly problems referred to as secondary and tertiary sexual effects. But I suppose that we can talk about all these things during our conversation.
Yeah, thank you. And you are very, very right. I often talk to my friends that are not living with MS about sex because it definitely affects us in something we young people are very caring about. Nadja, would you have something to add on to what was being said?
Well, talking from my personal experience, I've had MS now for 2 years, and it definitely affected some areas of my sex lives. And I'll talk about the examples more, but definitely when my central nervous system is nervous that my sex is not okay and my sex drive is bad, and so it has such a big impact on our lives, and we have to constantly remind ourselves that it's okay, that we feel in a certain way, and that we feel or do not feel our orgasms sometimes, because that can happen, like numbness of our private parts can happen. And how do you explain that, and how do you navigate that? And I would just say that it is important to talk about this, and I'm very happy to be here today to discuss this with all of you.
Can you maybe give us some examples of the coping mechanisms you have discovered while dealing with the challenges?
It's all about choosing the right partner, because the previous partner I was with, I was feeling bad with him, and so my nervous system would react in a way that it didn't want me to be sexual with him, and so it numbed certain parts of my body, and it kind of gave me a signal, okay, your body doesn't want to feel this, or your body doesn't want to experience this. But then with the right sexual partner where I feel more relaxed and I can communicate my needs and everything, then my central nervous system is like, okay, go girl. It gives me like a green light, and it doesn't stop me in anything. So I think it's how we perceive ourselves versus the other person. It's the image of us as a being and not a patient. You know, because we often perceive ourselves as a patient because we are battling an illness, and we do not see ourselves as a sexual people. And I think when I manage to balance out I need to, work on myself and my illness, and I need to work on my other needs that are really also important in my everyday life as sex, then when I manage to balance out the image of me as a patient and being ill, and the image of me being a woman that has the needs, then I can do it all. But it's just about the balance. Sometimes you have bad days, sometimes you have good days. It's normal. It's normal.
I fully agree, and I will quote you on that. Seeing yourselves as people and not patients. But I wanted to ask, because I think it's quite difficult if you are diagnosed at a young age, like people with MS are, to then realize that it is really between the connection that you have with the person and not necessarily what you feel inside. So how did you realize that it was about the partner and how you felt with the partner, and it wasn't about you?
Well, my body gave me signals. It was clear signals from my body. Even though I wanted that relationship to work, my body was not feeling okay. And when I had to go to a psychologist and talk to someone and see because my neurologist, for example, didn't take some of my symptoms as serious as my psychologist did, because the psychologist takes in mind your emotions, your feelings, some things many neurologists don't. And when we made a connection between my feelings and my symptoms and what my body is telling me, it was clear to me that I was not happy in that relationship. And I couldn't see it by myself. I could only see, okay, my illness is getting bad. This is going, I couldn't see. I needed a help for someone to take in mind my feelings as something that can cause some symptoms to arise. And that is, for me, I think for people for MS to understand is your nervous system reacts to your emotions and to your feelings a lot. I mean, when you're nervous, your body feels it, even if you don't, because sometimes people block out the stress somehow, but your body still feels it. And so when I finally opened up to my psychologist and we made a connection between my symptoms and what my body was feeling and telling me, I got out of the bad relationship and focused on myself, and then found a partner that is now younger and is fun.
We're very happy to hear. And I can tell that it's been a journey. So we're happy you're in a happy place. Moira, would you like to add on to this?
Yes, because I heard Nadja, and I totally agree with her. Yes, it's all about the partner, the communication. How do you feel about your body? Of course, our bodies are sending signals that something is different now with MS. But first of all, I must say that it's also the other way around. Yes, when we feel stressed, when we don't have a good relationship, our body is giving us some different signals than before. But it's also the other way. When we have MS, we have some problems. We have some disturbances regarding our sexual function because our central nervous system reacts not only to our emotions react to our central nervous system. I must say that sexuality is made possible to express because of our sexual arousals. Our central nervous system makes sexual arousal possible. The brain, our sexual organs, and other parts of our body are sending messages to each other along our nerves that run through the spinal cord. And all the MS-related damages to these nerve fibers can directly impair our sexual feelings or our sexual responses in the same way that damages in the central nervous system can affect our ability to walk, to see, to hear, to think, to react. And just as other aspects of MS, sexual problems can arise at any time with any partner. Also, if we have an understandable partner, it's on our side first to understand our symptoms, what causes our symptoms, and then passes to the other person. Okay? I don't know if I'm a little bit more like a doctor talking, but from my side of view, it's not only the other person. First of all, it's ourselves.
And now my question is, I am a control freak, I'll have to share. How do we ensure that we calm our body so that we enjoy pleasure? Because this seemed like we have to control a lot of things. We have to take care of ourselves, our emotions, our external factors, not to stress too much, and talk to our partners at the same time. And this might seem like a lot for someone to handle.
It is. It is a lot. From my side of view, it is a lot. But if I could recommend something, I would say stop trying to control everything. You don't have to control it. You have to see it, understand it, and not try to control it, because this is the first bet that you have with this disease. Stop controlling.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I'll try to remember that.
Yeah, don't do that. Yes, okay, I can understand that our bodies are changing. Okay, our feelings are changing. Maybe we have altered genital sensations like numbness, pain, hypersensitivity. I heard from Nadja a difficulty to get an orgasm. Am I right, Nadja?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And numbness, yeah.
And if we had a guy in our company, maybe he would have a difficulty or inability to ejaculate or to get an erection. For us, the women, maybe there's a problem of vaginal lubrication or clitoral engorgement. Okay, we know all these things, but not everyone has it. Not everyone has it all the time. It's all about controlling our central nervous system. Stop doing that. You don't need to do that. Just relax, hear your body, and let nature do his or her or its job. It knows how to react. And if it doesn't work, we can find another way. I'll say about that afterwards, okay?
So it's about trying to relax and identify exactly how we feel. Because I also think that sometimes we jump to, okay, I need this solved, but we don't really know exactly what we need solved. So it's more about focusing on truly finding out how we're feeling and what are the things we're actually dealing with. Viivi, is there something that has affected since your diagnosis? Is there anything that affected your relationship and your intimacy?
You know, all the YPN people know that I'm like the crybaby. That I think that that's mostly because I became like more sensitive. And now when Moira mentioned about the like, what was the like about the sensitivity or something? But I think that in my case, I think that the only problems that I have are mostly during the act because my feet are cramping and my body's cramping from some point. But then like I am more sensitive nowadays. Like I'm crying more often, I'm laughing more often, and I'm more, sexually active, hopefully.
You're feeling more, if I could conclude it. Yeah, which is nice. Then we can jump on to another aspect of sexuality, and that is self-esteem and body image. And I would like to turn again to Moira and ask her, how does MS impact our self-esteem and body image? And what are the strategies that individuals can use to boost their self-esteem?
Okay. Well, I'll start with self-esteem. First of all, we have physical changes. Everyone may have physical changes. MS can cause physical symptoms such as muscle weakness, fatigue, mobility issues, and changes in appearance. These changes can lead to feelings of self-consciousness and reduced self-esteem, especially if they affect a person's ability to perform daily tasks or engage in activities they once enjoyed. As MS progresses, some individuals may become more dependent on others for assistance on daily tasks, and this shift in roles and increased reliance on caregivers or a loved person, can challenge a person's sense of independence and self-worth. All these things, plus the unpredictability of the disease, because some of us have periods of remissions and some may have a relapse, can lead to anxiety and uncertainty about the future, which can negatively impact self-esteem. Who can say that he or she is happy to having MS? I suppose no one. But here comes the impact that MS has in body image. Okay, some of people may need to have assistance for their mobility issues. Mobility aids such as wheelchairs or I don't know the word in English, please, someone help. A cane, yes, a cane. Thank you very much. Some will have visible symptoms like muscle spasms. All this can affect how individuals perceive their bodies and how they believe others perceive them. And who wants a person in a wheelchair for a relationship? I'm just asking because most of us recognize that, okay, I need someone to spend the rest of my life with him or her, but I have some issues. I need him or her to be tall, blonde, with gray eyes, with blue eyes. But no one is going to tell you that I'm dreaming the ideal partner in a wheelchair or with a cane or with someone who needs assistance to walk or to get out of the bed. So, all these things, when something like MS is happening to our lives, are changing the way we think about ourselves as sexual beings. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but if I am having a special representation of my mind that I can talk for myself that I'm a woman. I'm a cis woman. I think that a cis woman should be 2, 5, 10 things. But in these 10 things, there's no wheelchair. There is no cane. There is no MS. There is no catheter. I cannot think something else. But all these things are altering the way I'm thinking about myself, about my body. And what happens when I'm in intimate relationship with someone? How can I feel about myself? And how can the other person see me as a sexual being when 10 minutes earlier, before sexual intercourse, they have to put a catheter? Just think about that. All these things are making self-acceptance very difficult. And they lower self-esteem.
Yeah, that is very, very true. And while you were talking, I was thinking of what Nadja said earlier, that it's also about finding the right partner. And I know that I don't have MS, but I've had an MS episode. That's what my neurologist called it as. And I remember I was thinking, oh, wow, I might be ending up in a wheelchair. And now the way I think about my future partner is I'm really looking for someone that will be able to push my wheelchair if that will be the case, when I'll be 60. And really, it changed the way I think about life.
Before finding the right partner, I would say, find yourself. If we can accept our condition and its limitations in every aspect of our lives, we have made an important step toward our self-esteem.
Yeah, accepting first.
Don't expect from the others to accept you if you don't accept yourself first.
Nadja, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I want to talk about body image because the first thing that changed on me was my face. And I immediately thought, oh my God, if I never fix this, if I ever have a wedding, I will not have a beautiful wedding photo because I cannot smile nicely. And that to me was like, argh! And even with the partner I have right now, I don't talk about my face. Obviously, he can see it, but I don't want to. It's still new, so I don't talk about it. Like it doesn't exist in the conversation, but sometimes I feel, oh my God, he's gonna find someone that can smile really nicely, and that's not me. And it can cause problems for my self-esteem sometimes. But when I'm okay with my face, I'm just like, okay, it doesn't exist. That's not the problem that I have with finding a partner. It's me. It's not my face.
And have you found any coping mechanism? I mean, to be honest, I think for your wedding day, you can find the right angles, and your partner likes you, and your partner likes you the way you are.
My coping mechanism is, with this new partner, I don't talk about my face. Because if we were to talk about it, I think I would feel even worse than I'm feeling right now. So that's my coping mechanism.
Yeah, but you're afraid of you're afraid to find out how he's feeling.
Yeah, because it's new. And I don't want the MS to be, we talk about it, but we don't talk about my face especially. But we talk about MS in general. So it's fine.
Viivi, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, it was like, I understand that, like, why Nadja doesn't want to, because if you say it out loud, then it becomes an issue. It's not like, I understand, like, definitely, I do understand. But if you say it, and it, like, it may be, like, it's something that you always kind of, like, know that it exists.
Yeah, and then you have to tackle it as well.
Yeah.
I know. I know my therapists usually say, no, have that conversation. But especially when you have to deal with so much at 20, 30, it was like, okay, yeah, but I don't want to open that can of worms. So then I'm asking Moira, how do we end up opening that can of worms?
As a person dealing with MS every day, I would suggest 8 strategies to boost our self-esteem. First of all, we must have self-acceptance. We must recognize that MS is a part of our life, but it does not define us as a person. If we accept our conditions and its limitations, I said that before when I was talking to Nadja, is an important step toward improving our self-esteem. Second of all, we have to be positive and have positive self-talk with ourselves. If we challenge negative self-talk and replace it with positive affirmations, we can remind ourselves about our strengths, our accomplishments, and the things that make us unique. Of course, we can seek support from our therapists or some support groups if we have in our cities, in our societies that we're living in. And with sharing our experiences with others who understand us can provide us emotional support and strategies for coping with self-esteem issues. We must focus on our abilities. We must concentrate on what we can do rather of what we cannot do. And I heard you, Nadja, about your smile, but you have a very beautiful face. Not only a beautiful smile, but you are beautiful as a person. Celebrate your achievements, no matter how small they are or how small we think they are. And we must set realistic goals to maintain a sense of accomplishment. We must, of course, maintain a healthy lifestyle and talk with our doctors and have our medications. We must educate ourselves and learn about MS, how to manage MS, and what are the available resources we can gain of. And of course, we can involve our loved ones, our partners, our relatives. We can communicate openly with our families, our friends about our feelings, about our needs, our fears. Most of people who love us can offer support and understanding, and if we involve them in our journey, they can be with us. I don't know if all of this or some of this can be in help of boosting our self-esteem when someone lives with MS, but why don't we try some?
We'll certainly try some. Thank you for that. And I would like to end on that MS is a part of our lives and it does not define us. And we should just continuously learn about MS and also try to connect with ourselves, with the partners around us, and with any association that might be there. Now, in closing, I would like to play a quick game. It's called Rapid Q&A to get us excited for the end of the episode. I'll be shooting some questions at you, and you have to say something the first thing that pops into your mind. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Definitely coffee.
Caffeinated over here. Ice cream or chocolate? That's a hard one. And you cannot choose both.
Chocolate.
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
I would also choose ice cream. Best advice you've received about managing MS and relationships?
Oh, this is a hard one. It's not a rapid question. I would say, as Dr. Moira has said, definitely talk openly about it and be yourself, because you're more than just your MS. And I think that was one of the best advices I got.
Beautiful.
Yeah. For me, it was probably like, okay, you're perfect just the way you are, and you need to believe it. And then just always remember that the cards has been dealt and you need to play with it.
Nice. When you said that, I heard the song with You're Beautiful Just the Way You Are.
Yeah.
For me, the first thing that comes in my mind from this question is that don't stop trying. Don't isolate. Just keep trying.
Connect. And now a bit of a longer question, but I have a question for the members of our Young People's Network, or YPN. What is the best part of being a part of a network of young people with MS?
Well, I'll start. The best part is me and Viivi exchanged hundreds of voice messages yesterday talking about this subject, preparing for the podcast. And I think that's, while sharing, we overshared some of our experiences, and then you get the advice back. And I think that's the best part of it, being able to overshare on some topics you wouldn't talk about with other people that don't have MS.
And you, Viivi?
Yes. No, well, definitely people like our conversation yesterday. It was great because it is like that. Like you cannot talk about these things with someone, who doesn't have MS. It's the vibe. It's a vibe.
Yeah, it's a different level of understanding. And now let me turn this question to Moira. What's the best part about working with young people or hearing young people's stories?
First of all, I'm jealous because I'm not so young anymore. But anyway, no, that was a joke.
Your soul is young. It's okay.
But anyway, the best part of this is the connection that young people have between them, the exchange of information. Yes, I love you also. Yeah. And I feel very blessed talking with young people and exchange ideas, fears, hopes, dreams, and all these things. I'm blessed. Yes, I am.
Beautiful. Yeah, we want to talk amongst ourselves, first of all, because we learn from others' experiences, but we also want to be heard. So it's good to know that we are heard by everybody in the MS community. Now, in closing, I want to read you a snippet of a podcast I stumbled upon while I was on social media the other week. So the episode was exactly about what it's like to be in your 20s and 30s. And that's a period of time where we really ask ourselves, what should I do with my life? Should I travel the world? Should I stay home, focus on my career? Should I rent, or should I buy a house? Or will I ever be able to buy a house in this economy? Should I get married? Should I start a family? Or should I stay single? So there are a lot of questions popping in my head. And while I was listening, I was resonating with the podcast hosts. But I was also thinking that at the same time, somebody gets diagnosed with MS while they're 20 and 30s. And on top of all of this, they also have to learn how to navigate their life now with MS, not being defined by it, by accepting it. And that is exactly why we started this podcast, to tackle some of the challenges. And I am very, very glad to have experts as well as young people that have lived through their experiences and are ready to share. So thank you for being the guests on our episode. Before we go, I also want to have a special thanks to our listeners. Stay tuned for even more engaging conversations in the future, and follow us on our Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts at EU MS Youth. Until next time.